We're going to look at how to solve a system of quadratics with the quadratic formula today. What I'd like to do is just review some topics that we do know. So a quadratic, remember, is in the form of a ax squared plus bx plus c. So when I solve a quadratic, one of the ways that we've learned before is to solve for a quadratic equation if we can factor and set each factor equal to 0. In this case, we can factor, and if we set each one of these factors equal to 0, we'll get 2 answers. And what I really want to make a point of today is, what did we just find? And we found solutions, but when we're talking about the graph, what are we finding? If I have x equal 4, that means if I plug in 4 in here, I'll get a 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, I'll get a 0. And if I put in a 1 into my equation, I'll also get a 0. So remember some of the things that we've talked about with quadratics. We have a parabola because we have an x squared. We have a y-intercept of 0, 4. We have a vertex at minus b, which in this case would be 5, all over 2a. So somewhere our vertex is going to be 2.5, which should make some sense. And the quadratic formula, or solving the system, gives you what? Gives you the x-intercepts. So that's just kind of a review. Sometimes these x-intercepts, you might remember when we graphed them, came out nice. And sometimes these x-intercepts do not come out as whole numbers. So what we have to do is we have to know the quadratic formula to find those. So I'm going to give you a quick example of quadratic formula, and then we'll work through some problems. So the first thing I want to do is give you the formula. And again, be very careful as far as writing down the exact quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is a formula to be able to solve any quadratic. And again, we're going to use these A, B, and C that we've been used to. We're solving the system, which means that we'll equal to 0. So if the quadratic does not come equal to 0, make sure it equals 0. And what we're going to do is we're going to solve this system, and we're going to find out what x equals. So x equals the opposite of b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So copy down this formula. Make sure that it's perfect. And I'll show you a couple examples on how we can punch it in just a minute.